Imagine waking up just 30 days from now. You pick up your phone and watch an English YouTube video without subtitles. You understand almost everything. You confidently introduce yourself to strangers. You watch Netflix without constantly pausing. You even start thinking in English instead of translating every sentence in your head. Sounds impossible? Here's the shocking part. Millions of people spend 5 or even 10 years studying English in school, yet they still hesitate to say a simple sentence like, "Hi, my name is Rahul. Nice to meet you." Meanwhile, others become fluent in just a few months. So what's the difference? Are they naturally gifted? Do they have a higher IQ? Did they attend expensive coaching classes? Actually, science says no. The difference isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It isn't even grammar. The difference is how they train their brain. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Not based on random internet advice, but based on neuroscience, psychology, language acquisition research, and methods used by polyglots who speak 5, 10, or even 20 languages. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete 30-day roadmap to transform your English. And trust me, day 30 will feel completely different from day 1. Let's begin. Why most people never become fluent? Let's start with a question. When did you first start learning English? Maybe when you were 5. Maybe in first grade. Maybe even earlier. Now ask yourself another question. How many years has it been? 10? 15? Yet why do so many people still struggle to speak confidently? The answer is simple. Because schools teach English like a subject, but your brain learns English like a skill. Think about riding a bicycle. Could you learn cycling by reading 100 books? Of course not. You need practice. English works exactly the same way. Reading grammar rules doesn't automatically make you fluent. You become fluent by using English repeatedly. Researchers call this active language production. Your brain builds stronger neural pathways when you actively produce language instead of only consuming it. In simple words, speaking beats memorizing, using beats studying, practicing beats perfect notes. This is why someone who watches English videos daily often improves faster than someone solving grammar worksheets. The brain learns by doing, not by collecting information. The biggest myth about English. Let's destroy one myth right now. I need perfect grammar before I start speaking. Wrong. Imagine a 2-year-old child. Can they explain present perfect tense? No. Can they explain articles? No. Can they explain passive voice? Definitely not. Yet they speak. Why? Because communication comes before perfection. Linguist Stephen Krashen, famous for his research in language acquisition, proposed something called the input hypothesis. His idea was simple. People acquire language when they understand messages that are just slightly above their current level, not when they memorize hundreds of grammar rules. Think about children. Nobody sits them down with grammar textbooks. Instead, they hear words every single day. Slowly, their brain recognizes patterns. Eventually, speaking becomes automatic. Grammar comes naturally. That's exactly how adults can learn too. Your brain is a language machine. Have you ever wondered why you remember movie dialogues after hearing them only a few times, but forget grammar formulas within days? Because your brain loves stories. Scientists have found that stories activate multiple regions of the brain at the same time. Instead of memorizing isolated information, the brain connects emotions, images, voices, and experiences together. This makes learning much easier. That's why watching a 5-minute English story every day can teach you more naturally than memorizing 50 vocabulary words. Context beats memorization, every single time. The science of memory. Let's do a quick experiment. Suppose I ask you to remember these words: apple, blue, chair, mountain, window. You'll probably forget most of them soon. Now imagine this: A blue elephant is sitting on a chair near a mountain while eating an apple through a window. Weird? Absolutely. Memorable? Definitely. Why? Because the brain remembers connections. Psychologists call this elaborative encoding. When new information connects with images or stories, memory becomes much stronger. So don't memorize vocabulary like this. Happy equals happy. Sad equals sad. Learn it through situations. I'm happy because I passed my exam. I'm sad because I missed my train. Now your brain has context, and context creates memory. Why translating slows you down? Imagine someone asks, "How are you?" If your brain works like this: English, mother tongue, meaning, mother tongue, English, response, you'll always speak slowly. Translation creates traffic inside your brain. The goal isn't translation. The goal is direct understanding. Think about the word apple. Do you translate it into your native language every time? Probably not. You simply imagine an apple. That's exactly how fluent speakers think. Word, image, not word translation. This takes practice, but it's one of the biggest breakthroughs in language learning. The 30-day plan. Now let's build your roadmap. Forget studying 6 hours every day. Consistency beats intensity. Just one focused hour every day is enough, but that hour must be structured correctly. We'll divide the month into 4 weeks. Each week trains a different part of your brain. Week 1, input. Week 2, speaking. Week 3, thinking. Week 4, confidence. Today we'll focus on the first 2 weeks. Week 1, fill your brain with English. Your first goal is simple. Surround yourself with English. Change your phone language. Change YouTube recommendations. Follow English creators. Listen to English songs. Watch short videos. Read simple articles. Don't worry if you understand only 50%. Remember Stephen Krashen's research. Understanding everything isn't necessary. Understanding enough is. Your brain learns patterns even when you don't notice. The immersion effect. Researchers studying second language learning found that people improve faster when they're surrounded by meaningful language regularly. This doesn't mean moving to another country. You can create an English environment inside your own home. But use each word 5 times. Example, confident. I feel confident. She looks confident. Become more confident. He's confident today. Confidence is important. Now the word becomes part of your vocabulary, not just your notebook. Quality beats quantity. The forgetting curve. German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered something fascinating over a century ago. If you learn something once and never review it, you'll forget a large portion of it within days. This is called the forgetting curve. The solution? Review information at increasing intervals. For example, learn a word today, review it tomorrow, review it 3 days later, then a week later, then 2 weeks later. Every review strengthens the memory. Instead of fighting your brain, work with it. Build a daily English habit. Here's your week 1 routine. 10 minutes of listening, 10 minutes of reading, 15 minutes of shadowing, 10 minutes of vocabulary and context, 15 minutes speaking to yourself. Just 1 hour, every day. No excuses. Remember, small daily actions beat occasional marathon study sessions. Week 2. Start speaking without fear. Now your brain has received enough English input. It's time to produce language. This is where most learners panic. They think, what if I make mistakes? Here's the truth. Mistakes are not signs of failure. They are signs of learning. Think about learning to walk. Did you fall? Of course. Imagine if babies stopped walking because they were embarrassed. None of us would ever learn. Language works exactly the same way. The more mistakes you make, the more your brain adjusts, the faster you improve. The psychology of fear. Why do we freeze while speaking English? because of something psychologists call the affective filter. When you're anxious or afraid of being judged, your brain focuses more on the fear than on processing language. This makes speaking feel harder than it actually is. The solution isn't to become fearless. The solution is to practice in low-pressure situations. Talk to yourself. Describe your room. Explain your day. Narrate what you're cooking. The more comfortable your brain becomes with producing English, the lower that mental barrier gets. Talk to yourself. This might sound strange, but it's incredibly effective. Every morning, spend 5 minutes talking to yourself in English. What am I going to do today? I'm making breakfast. I have a meeting. I'm feeling excited. You don't need perfect grammar. You need practice. Your brain doesn't care whether someone is listening. It cares that you're producing language. At this point, something amazing has already happened. You haven't memorized thousands of grammar rules. You haven't filled 10 notebooks with vocabulary. Yet your brain has already started changing. You've learned how language is really acquired. You've discovered why immersion works, why shadowing improves pronunciation, why stories strengthen memory, why translating slows you down, why fear blocks fluency, and why speaking, even imperfectly, is the fastest path to improvement. But here's the exciting part. We're only halfway through the journey. Imagine this. It's day 21 of your English journey. You suddenly realize something strange has happened. You're watching a YouTube video, and instead of translating every sentence, you're actually understanding it. Not every word, but enough to enjoy the conversation. You don't panic when someone speaks English anymore. You don't freeze before answering. And for the first time, learning English doesn't feel like studying. It feels natural. This is the stage where most people give up, not because they're failing, but because they don't realize how close they are to succeeding. In part 1, we learned how to feed your brain with English using immersion, shadowing, and smart study techniques backed by science. Today, we're going one step further. We're going to teach your brain to think in English instead of translating. And once that happens, everything changes. Stop translating, start thinking. Let me ask you a simple question. If I say the word apple, did you immediately imagine an apple, or did you first translate it into your native language? Most fluent speakers don't translate. Their brain instantly creates an image. That's exactly why they speak so fast. But beginners usually follow a much slower process. English, native language, meaning, native language again, then finally, English. Imagine doing all those steps for every single sentence. No wonder speaking feels difficult. So how do we fix it? The answer is surprisingly simple. Start talking to yourself. Yes, it sounds strange, but psychologists have found that self-talk improves learning, memory, and confidence because it forces your brain to organize thoughts without outside pressure. The next time you're walking to college, cooking, or cleaning your room, describe everything in English. This room is messy. I need to study. The weather looks beautiful today. Don't worry about grammar. Don't stop because you forgot one word. Keep moving. Your brain doesn't become fluent because you spoke perfectly. It becomes fluent because you kept speaking. Every sentence you create is another workout for your brain. And just like muscles grow in the gym, your English grows through repetition. Your memory is smarter than you think. Here's something fascinating. Most people believe they have a bad memory, but that's rarely true. The real problem isn't memory. It's how they learn. Imagine I tell you to memorize 20 random words. You'll probably forget most of them tomorrow. Now imagine watching a short story that naturally uses those same 20 words. Which one do you think you'll remember longer? The story, because your brain loves meaning. Scientists call this contextual learning. Your brain remembers information much better when it's connected to emotions, images, or experiences. That's why children don't memorize dictionaries. They learn words while playing, watching, listening, and living. So instead of writing 100 vocabulary words in a notebook, learn 5 useful phrases. Instead of memorizing the word excited, say, I'm excited because my vacation starts tomorrow. Now the word has a memory attached to it, and memories last. Why you keep forgetting English? Have you ever learned a new word today, only to forget it tomorrow? You're not alone. More than 100 years ago, psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered something remarkable. He found that if we never review what we learn, our brain quickly throws most of it away. Not because it's broken, but because it's trying to save space. Think about your phone. If every photo you've ever taken stayed open in memory forever, it would become slow. Your brain works similarly. It keeps what you use. It removes what you ignore. That's why simply reading vocabulary isn't enough. You have to use it. Speak it, write it, hear it. The more often your brain sees the same word in different situations, the stronger that memory becomes. Learning isn't about reading more. It's about remembering more. The secret that polyglots use. Have you ever watched someone who speaks 5 or even 10 languages? It almost feels impossible. You might think they're just born talented. But researchers studying multilingual learners have found something interesting. Most successful language learners don't study harder, they study differently. Instead of trying to master grammar before speaking, they spend most of their time listening, reading, and communicating. They accept mistakes. They don't wait to become perfect, because they know something that most beginners don't. Confidence comes after speaking, not before. Imagine learning to swim. Would reading a swimming book make you confident in deep water? Of course not. You become confident by getting into the pool. English works exactly the same way. Your environment is teaching you something every day. Here's a question. How many hours do you spend on your phone every day? 2, 4, maybe even 6. Now imagine if even half of that time was in English. Your YouTube recommendations, Instagram reels, movies, podcasts, news, songs, without adding extra study time. You've already increased your English exposure by dozens of hours every month. This is called language immersion, and research consistently shows that frequent exposure to meaningful language helps learners recognize vocabulary, sentence patterns, and pronunciation much more naturally. Your environment shapes your brain. If you're surrounded by English every day, eventually, your brain starts treating it as normal, and normal things are easier to understand. The final 7 days. Now imagine you've reached day 24. This is where most people either stop or level up. For the final week, forget trying to learn hundreds of new words. Instead, use everything you've already learned. Speak for 5 minutes every day. Record yourself. Watch it back. Notice your mistakes. Improve one thing tomorrow. Read 1 page aloud. Watch 1 English interview. Repeat 1 conversation. That's it. Simple, consistent, powerful. Improvement doesn't happen because of 1 amazing study session. It happens because of 30 ordinary days repeated without quitting. Your 30-day transformation. Let's be honest, you probably won't sound like a native speaker after 1 month. And that's perfectly okay, because that's not the goal. The goal is much bigger. Imagine understanding YouTube videos without subtitles. Imagine speaking without constantly translating. Imagine feeling confident enough to introduce yourself, answer questions, or hold a simple conversation. That's a life-changing improvement, and it all begins with 1 decision: to stop waiting. Most people spend years saying, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week, next month, next year. Meanwhile, the people who improve aren't necessarily smarter. They simply started. So here's my challenge for you. For the next 30 days, give English just 1 focused hour every day. Some days you'll feel motivated, some days you won't. Do it anyway. Because motivation starts the journey, but consistency finishes it. 1 month from now, you'll either be exactly where you are today, or you'll thank yourself for taking the first step. The choice is completely yours. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's trying to improve their English. And remember, fluency isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one conversation, one sentence, and one day at a time. I'll see you in the next video.